Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Jif peanut butter. It's that Jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean.
Jif. Ooh, it's that Jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends, to the Wednesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. If you would like to be part of the program this afternoon, 800-848-9222 is how you do it. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. We are at the 100-day mark today. I asked Princess Diana if she would join us, and she politely and very, very, I should say, thoughtfully declined. She said, look, I can't make myself get into this artificial milestone, especially since she said over and over again that we're not going to really feel the kick-in of most of Donald Trump's policies for about a year. The main thing that Donald Trump has accomplished so far is the lethal damage to the resistance. And again, even that's going to take some time to play out. Now, I respect that. Because this 100-day thing, of course, started with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the first 100 days, country deep in the armpit of recession. And here comes Franklin Delano Roosevelt and starts instigating what became known as the New Deal, all this liberal socialist stuff that has infected American culture, American society, and the American economy ever since. And since Franklin Delano Roosevelt, every time we get a new president, it's the first 100 days. What are you going to do in the first 100 days? Well, Donald Trump has done a lot in the first 100 days, but he did a lot in the first day. And there are other things in the news, but there was a cabinet meeting this afternoon. They talked about the 100-day mark. They know it's a media story, and the White House is aware of it, and so they of course, have a good story to tell, and they're telling their story. Oh, what did you say, Carlos? Yes, Carlos, there is an update on that story. Yeah. I don't know whether we have time for it today. It's a very detailed update on the story of the Manhattan subway corpse rapist. Would you like to know the headline of it, Carlos?
No, just go straight to the story. It's okay.
You don't want to know the headline.
Okay. I mean, I want to know the headline.
Okay. Manhattan subway corpse rape suspect paused sex as passengers got on and off train. Prosecutors. That's what the prosecutors are saying. He stopped, and then he kept doing it. When the passenger, after he saw, nobody got on that could, whatever. Then he, in between stations, when it was pulling into the station, he was pulling out of the station, and he stopped. Okay, we'll stop right now. We'll get to that story later. We'll hold it maybe for Saturday morning for you, Carlos. I'll do that as a favor for you so we can, because we got other things to talk about. So for you, I'll do that story on Saturday morning, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. J.D. Vance was at cabinet meeting. This Trump cabinet meeting was terrific. We have a cut that we will not be able to play in its entirety, Marco Rubio. And Marco Rubio, fascinating. Before we get to the cut, let me just find this. This is the headline that I think sums it up from the resistance point of view. 220 lawsuits in 100 days. Trump administration faces unprecedented legal blitz. And you know, the Democrats telegraphed this before Trump came to office. They are following through. This is an interesting thing. Both sides are doing what they said they would do. Donald Trump is doing exactly what he told Americans he would do when he came to office, and the left is following through on what they said they would do. They said they're going to do unprecedented lawfare against, they didn't use the word lawfare, but that's what they said. We're going to, unprecedented lawfare. We're going to try to stymie this guy every step of the way legally with lawsuits. And they're doing it. And their judges are behaving in ways that might it will go one of two ways. It will either cripple the presidency long term, or if these things work through the court, what will it will do will backfire on the Democrats, the liberal, the left wing. All of them are the same thing. The progressives, it will cripple them for generations if some of these lawsuits turn out to codify the power that the president has. It used to be referred to as the imperial presidency. If they lose a significant number of these suits in ways that they right now are not contemplating, it will bolster the president's power, the power of the presidency, not just Donald Trump, but the power of the executive branch. And that could be one of the best things that ever happened to this country. Conversely, it could also be very dangerous if the right liberal gets in the future. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, cabinet meeting today. J.D. Vance, cut one. Let's start there with the Vice President of the United States.
Mr. President, thank you, and thanks to the cabinet. So, at the risk of insulting everybody else at the table, I believe that I am the youngest member sitting at the table. And, it occurred to me that from the time that I was born to the time that Donald J. Trump was inaugurated just a few months ago, we went from, again, 40 years, we went from the world's manufacturing superpower to one in which we depend on the People's Republic of China to make the things that we need. We went from the proudest military in the world to one in which we failed to meet our recruiting goals. And we went from one in which bipartisan border policy was the consensus of both Democrats and Republicans to one in which we allowed 20 million people to run roughshod illegally over the countryside, causing crime, causing a stress in the welfare system. And again, that happened over the lifetime of the youngest member of the cabinet. And what has happened in 100 days is that we've started to reverse every single one of those negative trends. And I think what it shows to me is that the president, and you sit in the Oval Office and you see these portraits of presidents past. And let's be honest, most of them have been placeholders. They've been people who allowed their staff to sign executive orders with an auto pen instead of men of action. And the reason the media attacks this administration as chaotic is because the president is solving the problems the American people set about to solve. He's actually doing the things that he promised that he would do. And Mr. President, it's been an honor to be part of it for the past 100 days. And let me just make one other observation, because it's interesting. I've seen the data, I've monitored it, I've looked at it, but the most underreported fact of the first 100 days is that we came in with a massive recruitment shortfall. And in 100 days of Secretary Hegseth and President Trump's leadership, we now have people breaking down the doors to join our military. To the media assembled here, it's a really interesting question. Why has that happened? Completely aside from the fact that I think it's a good thing, or I think that President Trump deserves political credit for it, why did we go from a military where people didn't want to serve to now all of a sudden they do want to serve? That's a story you guys should cover, but compared to that, how much time have you instead focused on the fact that we deported an MS-13 gang member with a valid deportation order? And why is it that the press is so focused on the fake BS rather than what's really going on in the country? I think that what we've shown, sir, is that you can do a lot. You can do a lot in 100 days, but you've also unfortunately revealed that too much of the American media hasn't learned the lessons of the past 40 years. Thank you, sir.
Well, all that may be true. Now, I take, by the way, I don't know whether I agree with the vice president that most of the presidents of the United States have been placeholders. There have been a few. He cited the auto pen. The auto pen is a fairly recent development. There was no auto pen in the 1950s. There was no auto pen in the 1960s, 70s perhaps. I don't know when it came into being. We can find that out. But certainly, if you go back through each of the presidencies, there were consequential things that happened in almost everyone. Now, we did have a few placeholder presidents, but the United States has had a really interesting and tumultuous history in our short time as a world power. And I don't know whether I would agree with him. There have been a few placeholder presidents who didn't do much. But even if you look at some of them, like Eisenhower gets a reputation of not doing much, go to the golf course. I remember Rush talking about that. But if you look at Eisenhower, the beginning of the civil rights movement in America, which was profound in its depth and scope, Eisenhower played a major role in that. And he was like Mr. Go Golf. And he also warned, of course, of the military-industrial complex and a few other things. Anyway, look, let's take a break now. Let's leave room on the other side. See if we have enough time to begin the Marco Rubio address at the cabinet meeting. It was profound. James Golden, Snerdley. Benny King leads us off. Benjamin Earl Nelson, Benny King, passed away at the Hackensack University Medical Center back in 2015, 76 years old. He was originally with the Drifters. The Drifters saved the last dance for me. You know, the Drifters. Went solo, and this, of course, his big one in 1987. It went number one in the UK. First released in 1961. Ben E. King.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el Jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian-approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences, like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code LISTEN50 for 50% off, plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50. Code LISTEN50. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, this is Debbie, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep, I am here to help you with everything, from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
Oh, not a problem. I can even schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples, fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Oh, okay.
So the first room we're looking at is for guests.
Shop Blinds.com now and save up to 40% site-wide. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, we are going to start with Marco Rubio. We will break and then do more. Just Rubio. Let's go. No, I'm sorry. That's not Rubio.
When it comes to vaping,
Cut 8 is Marco Rubio.
All these reports
Thank you.
that have come here. First of all, it's Mr. So it better be good, and I'll be short as well. A couple things, Mr. President. I think you deserve a lot of credit for two things. The first is assembling this great team of people. some of whom I've known for a long time, others who I've gotten to know during this period of time, but putting together a team, not just of talented individuals, but that work well together. It's something never going to be reported on in the media or fully seen, but it happens every single day. For the most part, I interact with almost everyone around this table at some level. And because of Secretary Kennedy, I'm afraid to eat anything. So in front of him, he said Tootsie Rolls are okay in moderation. But it's a great team. And here's the second, and I tell this to people all the time. This is incredibly rewarding service, and you hear it in everyone's voices. Traditionally, in the past, and it's one of the problems we got in as a country, is presidents would say, okay, let's go do something, and then they would have to do a study, and then a study on the study, and then a long internal deliberative process, and by the time you got to it, it was too late, or somebody had forgotten it. In this administration, it's moving. You know the direction because you know why you were elected. The American people elected you very clearly, and basically it's measured, I used to say by days and weeks, now it's measured by hours and minutes, but action is happening. And that's what people want to see. And let me talk about foreign policy in particular, because I'm not sure this is fully appreciated. This president inherited 30 years of foreign policy that was built around what was good for the world.
Yes.
The decisions we made as a government in trade and foreign policy was basically, is it good for the world? Is it good for the global community? And under President Trump, we're making a foreign policy now was it good for America?
Boom.
I was appointed by you and confirmed by the Senate to be the head of the United States Department of State. Not the World Department of State, not the Global Department of State, the United States Department of State. And what that means is our foreign policy is guided by three things. Does it make America stronger? Does it make America safer? And does it make America richer? If something doesn't do one of those three things, and hopefully all three of those things, we're not doing it. Now, we went out and hired a consulting firm to help us organize ourselves. Luckily, they were free. They're called the Department of Government Efficiency. And they helped us do a couple things. Number one is our foreign aid. We were funding some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. You tell me, how does a puppet show in some country around the world make us stronger, safer, and more prosperous? So we got rid of puppet shows and a bunch of other things. I'm sure there were very good puppet shows. And I'm sure that a bunch of charities in the world can go pay for it, but the American taxpayer should not. We've also, by the way, Mr. President, under your direction, reorganized the Department of State. We had offices within offices within offices that didn't even know they existed themselves, not to mention the rest of them. And so we've begun to reorganize that as a way to be able to empower our embassies and our ambassadors and our regional bureaus. And
let's stop it right there with Marco Rubio. Pause it right there. And what we'll do is pick up with Marco Rubio at the cabinet meeting. And RFK had a humdinger. Wait till you hear RFK. And it's short, but it is powerful. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Buick. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the Buick Certified Service Fresh Start Tire Event. Visit Buick.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only, highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The Four Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The Four Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The year was 1957. Elvis Presley headed into the recording studio as a Lieber and Stroller song. We've talked about Jerry Lieber before. Jailhouse Rock, the theme song from his third motion picture, the same name. This song debuted at #1 across the pond, not in the States, but of course it became one of the signature songs for the King, Elvis Presley. On this day, Jailhouse Rock was recorded. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Okay, we were in the middle of Marco Rubio, and Marco Rubio said some pretty important things. This reorganization of the State Department that he's talking about, folks, this is huge. This turning the policy, a 3 decades old policy of what is best for the world instead of best for the United States first, is huge. These are huge things that are being done. Let's continue with Rubio.
And under President Trump, we're making a foreign policy now was it good for America? I was appointed by you and confirmed by the Senate to be the head of the United States Department of State. Not the World Department of State, not the Global Department of State, the United States Department of State. And what that means is our foreign policy is guided by 3 things. Does it make America stronger? Does it make America safer? And does it make America richer? If something doesn't do one of those 3 things, and hopefully all 3 of those things, we're not doing it. Now, we went out and hired a consulting firm to help us organize ourselves. Luckily, they were free. They're called the Department of Government Efficiency. And they helped us do a couple things. Number 1 is our foreign aid. We were funding some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. You tell me, how does a puppet show in some country around the world make us stronger, safer, and more prosperous? So we got rid of puppet shows and a bunch of other things. I'm sure there were very good puppet shows, and I'm sure that a bunch of charities in the world can go pay for it, but the American taxpayer should not. We've also, by the way, Mr. President, under your direction, reorganized the Department of State. We had offices within offices within offices that didn't even know they existed themselves, not to mention the rest.
Amazing.
And so we've begun to reorganize that as a way to be able to empower our embassies and our ambassadors and our regional bureaus to do what many of them signed up to do. We have a great team of ambassadors you've appointed. They're coming online every single day. Very talented people that are involved. Something else we got out of the business of, wasn't widely reported, or maybe it was. We had an office in the Department of State whose job it was to censor Americans.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm not going to say who it is. I'll leave it up to them. There's at least one person at this table today who had a dossier in that building of social media posts to identify them as purveyors of disinformation. We have these dossiers. We are going to be turning those over to these individuals.
We can follow up with the media.
Well, we are going to turn over these dossiers to the individuals, and they'll decide whether they want to disclose it or not. But just think about the Department of State of the United States had set up an office to monitor the social media posts and commentary of American citizens to identify them as vectors of disinformation, when we know that the best way to combat disinformation is freedom of speech and transparency. And so that's what we're going to be in the business of doing. We're not going to have an office that does that. Beyond that, Mr. President, and this I'll move quickly because this has been a team effort, we have gone to countries all over the world and said, hey, you want good relations with the United States, you need to take back your people that are here illegally. And we've had historic cooperation. Beyond that, and I say this unapologetically, we are actively searching for other countries to take people from third countries. So we are actively, not just El Salvador, we are working with other countries to say, we want to send you some of the most despicable human beings to your countries. Will you do that as a favor to us? And the further away from America, the better, so they can't come back across the border. I'm not apologetic about it. We are doing that. The president was elected to keep America safe and to get rid of a bunch of perverts and pedophiles and child rapists out of our country. Here's something else we've done. We stopped giving student visas to people who are coming here to burn down our universities and take over libraries and harass people. Why are we giving student visas to people who are coming here to create disruption? And we've taken away the student visas of people that have come here to do that. It's simple. If you're coming to America to start riots, we're not going to give you, we're going to take away your student visa. And by the way, every country in the world that I travel, 14 countries in 14 weeks, you know what they all say to me? Yes, that's what we would do too. So the only people who seem to disagree with us are a handful of federal judges and a bunch of crazy people who get paid to write and report. So anyway, we're getting rid of that. Now here's some good news. We're going to have the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup.
Okay, he goes on to talk about some of the things that are coming to the United States, and I don't want to spend time with that. They're important. But you got the gist, some of the meat of Marco Rubio's presentation. Now, if you have not heard what RFK said, sit down. Sit down. This is going to go quick. And RFK has the speech thing that goes on, so you have to listen very closely. It's only 30 seconds. But if you have not, and by the way, the Countess of Conspiracy, I know you're out there. The Countess of Conspiracy raised this issue with me 2 years ago or more. And when she first said it, Anyway, this is what RFK said today. 30 seconds. Listen tight.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? One more time, just one more time, 30 seconds of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. today at the Trump cabinet meeting.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration.
We are ending HHS as the vector, the biggest vector in two things: child trafficking involving sex and involving child slavery. Collaborators under the Biden administration. And we're actively trying to find the 300,000 kids that were lost. R.F. Kennedy at the cabinet meeting today. You won't see that story as a headline story anywhere in the mainstream press. I'm just saying. Going back, Princess Diana looked it up and shut my mouth and rinse it out with something, soap. The auto pen was invented not in the 1960s, not in the 1930s, not in the 1920s, not even, it was around even the Civil War, before the Civil War. The first American president to use the auto pen. Of course, it's not the same as it is now, digital, most likely, or whatever, but the first president to use an auto pen was Thomas Jefferson it was invented in 1803. 1803. So, I take back my remarks on the auto pen. By the way, Princess Diana says she agrees with me about the remark. I disagree with President Vance about his remark he made about the presidents being the placeholders, many of them. And she points out that the portraits in the Oval Office now, which is what he said, Trump has some of the greatest presidents in there, the active executives, including FDR. No placeholders in there. See, and if you go back and you look through and you study the presidencies of the United States, now there have been some that I think have been horrific presidents, like Woodrow Wilson. But he's not inconsequential, not a placeholder. There were a few, and a very small number of them. But we do not have very many presidential placeholders in our presidential history. So, all right. The ABC interview with Terry Moran. Let's just run through this really quickly. Let's just go through them. Let's start with cut 11, Terry Moran with Donald Trump, and here.
Are you using your powers as president to get personal revenge?
No, I'll tell you what. You're really not asking, and you should be asking. There has never been a president in this country, in the history, that was persecuted like I was persecuted by really crooked people, dishonest, horrible people, and it's been proven. So when you say I'm treating people rough, I'm not treating people rough. I was treated worse than any president in the history of our country. And, people figured, well, maybe that's it. Finally, we got, he's leaving town. There goes the helicopter. And then I came back. And I came back because I have tremendous support. When you win an election like I won it, and you will admit I won all 7 swing states, I won the popular vote, I won 2,750 districts compared to 500 districts. That's why the map is all red. And those people feel that I was treated unfairly.
Okay, we're going to continue with Terry Moran, ABC News. Let's see. Let's go cut 10. There you go.
But the court has ordered you to facilitate that.
I'm not the one making
the one story
decision.
they won't give up.
We have lawyers that don't want to do this.
But the buck stops in this office.
No. I follow the law. You want me to follow the law? If I were the president that just wanted to do anything, I'd probably keep him right where he is.
Supreme Court says what the law is.
Listen, I was elected to take care of a problem. It was a unforced error that was made by a very incompetent man, a man that turned out to be incompetent, that you always said was wonderful, great genius, right? And now you find out, all of the media now, they're saying what a mistake they made. A man who was grossly incompetent allowed us to have open borders where millions of people flowed in. I campaigned on that issue. I wouldn't say it was my number one issue, but it was pretty close.
Right up there.
I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened, and it happened very quickly. Wait a minute. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute.
Dispute. There's a dispute.
MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. That
was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshopped? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir. I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS, as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because it's fake news.
All right, let me just stop it there, because this goes back and forth. This guy, and Trump is not letting it go. Now, I understand what the guy's saying. By the way, in all candor and honesty, what the guy has tattooed on his hands, well, Senator Graham asked somebody about it. He asked the DEA nominee Terrence Cole about it. Cut 12. Just hit cut 12 and let's listen to this being discussed in testimony with DEA nominee.
You familiar with MS-13?
Yes, sir.
Briefly, what are they?
They're a terrorist organization.
Yeah, they've been designated a foreign terrorist organization.
Yeah.
They're involved in drugs, fentanyl.
Yes.
Extortion, kidnapping, drugs, intimidation, money laundering.
In your time in the DEA, do they have like membership cards?
Not necessarily the membership cards, but they are well recognized based on tattoos and different.
Do you have a photo? I think our office provided to you.
We spoke. Yeah, we spoke about it earlier. Yes, sir.
Can you give this to? This is a.
This is a
photo of tattoos.
Yeah. And what's on the tattoos? Come on, Lindsay.
Hebreo Garcia. Much attention's been paid to his case. I think he's in Venezuela.
No, he's in El Salvador, Lindsay, but that's not the point.
See the photo here?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, let's get to it. Thank you.
Based on your time and experience and expertise
here comes the payoff, folks.
In the DEA,
yes.
What does that photo or those markings suggest to you?
His tattoos on his hand.
That he's an MS-13 member, that those are his markings. Why? That's his brand. Not only my time at the DEA, but currently I participate.
So the start with a leaf. What's that a sign of?
Marijuana.
Okay. The next one is
smiley face.
Okay. And the next one is?
I believe that's a 1. I can't. It's a little blurred out for me, sir. Yeah. And then the last one's a 3 backwards.
Okay.
From here. Yes,
so
sir.
Based on your time as a DEA agent in the field, particularly in Mexico.
So it means MS-13. It's really clear to everybody, except for this guy from ABC News who wants to debate it, and except for liberals who want to say that the guy's not an MS. And everybody that actually serious about this knows what the tattoo on the guy's hands are. They're gang tats from MS-13. And you better believe gangbangers know what it is. We got to take a break. I'm rushing through this because we have so much more stuff that I wanted to get to that we can't today. But your calls are coming up at 800-848-9222. Oh, Michael, 1983, on this day, so long ago, and yet seems like yesterday in some ways. 3 weeks, number 1, his 5th solo U.S. number 1 single, Beat It. The third single from, of course, the Thriller album.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss. Oof, like wind in your hair carefree. Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree. Yes. Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree? He's on a roll now. Spit toothpaste on the faucet? You got it. You got it. Peanut butter on the light switch. Oh, spritz. Spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garden and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Wonder Mike. This was one of the first, the first humongous rap hit. 1979, first hip-hop act to have a crossover single with this one. Rapper's Delight. It's Wonder Mike's birthday today, born in 1957. And a special shout out, you heard her in the last break, our good friend, Debbie Nigro, who, of course, with Native Path Collagen. Way to go, Debbie. Always keeps the live in alive. There you go. James Golden, Snerdley. It is time.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
And we start with Joseph in New York City. Joseph, how are you?
God bless you, James. That line, Whoopi Goldberg, when was she going to start telling us the truth? She knows the truth that Joe Biden put the American economy in a diaper crapper.
Look, The View is, okay, The View is The View. If you want The View to be something other than The View, if you want the hostesses to be something other than The View, it ain't going to happen. And you might as well just leave that alone. They are who they are. The left is who they are. They're not going to, I had a friend that I was talking with, and she was talking about, people should work together. I don't understand why the Democrats don't want to work with them. Because they're Democrats. Their entire identities, their entire lives, not just for these past 100 days, but for the past 100 years, have been governed by hatred. Hatred of Republicans in particular. And when I say 100 years, I'm not kidding. If you go back in certain cities in America, it's even more. Well, that hatred has exploded into now a truly dysfunctional hatred under Donald Trump. And we all know it. It's TDS. I don't care what the story is, they can't find anything good. I don't care how good things are or how right the moves are, they will find a reason to criticize it. So these people that represent that line of thought in the media, regardless of what shows they're on, regardless of what news networks they're on, regardless of whether they're trying to be entertainers and come up with some funny joke that's not funny, they are ruled by this TDS and they are not going to change who they are. So rather than us be upset by it, be entertained by it. Watch the show. Let's go to Liz in New Jersey. Hello, Liz. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Golden. How are you this afternoon?
Very well, thank you.
Yes, I am a first-time caller. I listen to you most days on my way home, so it's very exciting. Very exciting.
Thank you.
I just was going back to what you were saying, referencing back to that ABC interview. The comments that the reporter, who I've never heard of either, was making about MS-13 and trying to, don't believe your lying eyes and just harping. I mean, that was ridiculous. But did you see the section later on where he's asking him about P type test? And, can you give us 100% assurance? And Donald Trump is saying, he said, well, nobody's going to give you 100% of anything because you have this a stupid question. And his snarky response to that was, can you, it's a stupid question, can you give me 100% assurance? Can't even give you 100% assurance that we're even going to finish this interview. And the guy was like, oh, we're going to finish the interview.
Yeah, this ABC, we have more of it. And we have a lot of stuff we didn't get to today, including Tim Walz, including what's happening on CNN with polling. We'll have to hold all of that for tomorrow. Oh, it's going to be more stuff tomorrow. But that's good. That's good because we have Saturday, too. Anyway, we got to go. May God bless and protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow. Already Thursday. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.